American Idol star, murder charge, why $2 million bail? This is Crimes Digest, crime news, cross-examined. As a retired criminal defense attorney, I've worked inside the system. Now, I put the system on the stand. Before guilt, before trial, before proof, who holds the power? 13 years ago, he stood on a national stage. American Idol, millions watching. A husband talking about his love for his wife. Today, he stands charged with murdering her. Prosecutors say he shot her inside their Ohio home while their 2 daughters were there. They say he staged the scene to look like a burglary. He called 911 and reported an intruder. Investigators now say the evidence points inward. He pleads not guilty, and before any jury hears evidence, the judge sets the bail at $2 million. That number is the real story. Ashley Flynn, 37, teacher, coach, mother, found dead inside her home with multiple gunshot wounds. Now Caleb Flynn, 39, is charged with murder, felonious assault, and tampering with evidence. At arraignment, he tells the court he is not a risk. The judge responds with a $2 million bail. Not $250,000, not $500,000, $2 million. Why? Now the prosecution lens. Prosecutors see intentional homicide, potential life sentence, and crime scene staging. When exposure is life, flight risk is maximal. When violence occurs inside a home with children present, courts treat danger as extreme. In that environment, 7-figure bail is not extraordinary. It's within the homicide range. Now the defense lens. The defense stresses that bail is not punishment. The 8th Amendment bars excessive bail. But excessive does not mean expensive. But it does mean more than necessary. $2 million means roughly $200,000 non-refundable, plus collateral. For most people, that's not release, that's jail. So the defense question becomes simple. If he could not safely be released, why use money at all? Now the cross-examination. Here's the part the public rarely sees. The presumption of innocence governs conviction. It does not guarantee pretrial freedom. At this stage, the power sits with the judge, and judges operate under asymmetric risks. If he's released and something goes wrong, that decision follows the judge forever. If bail is high and the defendant stays inside, that rarely costs anyone their career. Low bail in a murder case can end a judge. High bail never does. That shapes outcome. Add local norms. If comparable homicide cases land between $1 and $3 million, then $2 million is not shocking. It's consistent, and consistency shields decisions. That's how institutional power stabilizes. Now let's turn to the law. To overturn bail, an appellate court must find it unreasonable in light of the risk, not unaffordable. Unreasonable. In violent felony cases, that bar is extremely high. $2 million in a spousal murder prosecution involving children in the home? Here's my ruling. This is not about whether he can afford the bail. It's about whether the judge can afford the risk. $2 million sits completely within the homicide bandwidth. It's legally defensible. It's institutionally safe. But functionally, for most defendants, that number means preparing your defense from a jail cell. That is a practical reality. The Constitution protects against conviction without proof. It does not promise liberty before trial. So yes, the system calls it bail. But in cases like this, bail often operates as detention, not because of conspiracy, because of structure. And structure favors caution when the stakes are this high. Here we test power before proof. That's Crimes Digest. Crime news, cross-examine. See you in the next episode.